At some point, it used to be that the one thing that people had in common was, or at least the one thing that people will use as a medium to find a common ground, is wisdom and knowledge. Then, where any disagreement occurs, people will use wisdom and knowledge to come together based on the truth, the essence of things. But in today's world, the collective consciousness is based on misinformation. That information leads to fear, ignorance, and maltreatment of one another. It takes away the common sense and the basic attributes that we ought to have for one another, all because of misinformation. And the bad part is that that information is being fed to the people through a medium that admits that what they're saying is not factual or truthful. Yet, the people live their lives based on fear, ignorance, envy, hate, based on that misinformation. And on that same note, here's one example. Hey, two main things. Who knows? Maybe more than two. Two main things. News. News, news, news. Just because it is something new to you does not make it factual. Secondly, in order for you to prove defamation, you have to prove intent of malice. So let's just reverse for a little bit. In today's world, reading is not, whether you're reading it digitally or physically, it's really not something many people do. And most of the things that governs people's daily activities, people don't read it. People just simply don't read it. And as a result of that, they rely on other people to feed them information. And once that begins to happen, you are at the mercy and at the discernment of whoever is giving you that information. Your whole life, your feelings, your thoughts, your words, your actions, and the core of who you are is determined by what someone else organizes and throw at you. And when that thing damages you, you can't hold them liable for it. Besides the fact that you've waived any presumption of right that exists by giving someone else the ability to think for you and create reality for you, in this specific instant, news. Besides the fact that you've waived the right to think for yourself, the one giving you that information is not claiming that it's factual. Have you ever noticed that when you watch news, when they tell you, oh, someone got shot at a bar, and then you wake up the next morning, a child just got shot by a stray bullet, and then you wake up the next morning, a drunken driver died. Then you wake up the next morning, a house burned down, and then you wake up the next morning, 60,000 people died of this disease and this and that. Regardless of the fact that it's always negative affirmation, so now you're constantly in a heightened state, and your subconscious mind is now creating realities that's basically bad. And you're just merely reacting all day, every day, because you began your day by listening to someone. Reaction is not bad. if you're reacting to something that you've pre-programmed your mind to receive something good and then perpetuate that goodness, nothing is wrong with that. But if you've pre-programmed, excuse me, if someone else has pre-programmed your mind to fear, guilt, hate, misinformation, loss, anger, and you are merely just taking that without seeking the facts behind it, and these people don't tell you that it's factual. That is one thing they never do. They never tell you that, hey, this is fact. They just feed it to you and you just take it. So next time you listen to the news, think twice. And here's a perfect example of it. It's not hidden. It's not that it's not known. Everybody knows it. But the people who watch news. The judicial system knows the fact that news are not factual. The people who run the news company know the fact that it's not fact. What they're telling you is not fact. If they tell you this specific amount of people died because of this disease, or this happened or that happened, if they're showing you, hey, this guy is giving a conference speech, or is attending a conference report, whatever it is they're doing, they're not saying it's factual because there's a very good chance it's not. Maybe it's staged, maybe it's not. We're not claiming that it is or it's not. But one thing that is firm is the fact that they never claim none of the things they tell you is a fact. And here's a court case that blatantly lets you know that. This is someone who brought a defamation claim against Fox News Network. Of course, it's a limited liability company. So this guy is saying, well, here it is. Plaintiff Karen McDougall filed this action asserting a single claim of slander, per se, after she allegedly was defamed by a segment of the popular program, which produced by defendant Fox News Network LLC, aka Fox News, and aired on Fox News Channel. Specifically, plaintiff alleges that the host of the show accused her of extorting blah 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 blah. So Fox News spoke about someone, and that someone that's spoken of is saying, hey, you defamed me, you lied, you're making this look like it's true because the whole world is going to accept it. Well, guess what their affirmative defense was? It was very simple. A motion to dismiss. And they give you the good old standard. To survive a motion to dismiss, a complaint must contain sufficient factual matter accepted as true. Do you see where this is going? State a claim to relief that is plausible on its face. See where this is going? A claim has facial plausibility when the plaintiff pleads factual content that allows the court to draw the reasonable inference that the defendant is liable to the misconduct alleged. Here, they tell you have to plead facts. Of course, plain statement. And two, they're telling you that the intent has to exist. The claim has facial plausibility when the plaintiff pleads factual content that allows the court to draw reasonable inference that the defendant is liable for the misconduct. How can a reasonable inference be determined when it comes to liability of the one being pointed at? The intent. Discussion. Fox News seek dismissal at the pleading stage on two constitutional grounds. They're letting you know. I already know what this is. The right to free speech. Simple as that. So, as much as you might want to hate corporations, corporation this, corporation that, corporations have rights too. Corporations have constitutional rights too. Constitution talks about persons created by we the people, so we the people can always make any of those claims. The verbiage of it also lets you know about persons, and we all know persons can either be a statutory or legal person or a natural person. Statutory legal person in a Fox News Network LLC. So they made a constitutional claim, two of them. First, it asserts that plaintiff statements on whatever date of that show are constitutionally protected opinion, commentary on matters of public importance, aka it's just gossip. People just want to hear about it, and are not reasonably understood to be factual. Do you see that? So rarely would you ever see someone give an affirmative defense that says, hey, what I said was not factual. But if it's somebody doing something that they know is going to hold them liable, if they accept that it's factual, then hell yeah, it's not factual. Besides, I have the right to free speech. Constitutionally protected opinion, commentary on matters of public importance. That's free speech. And they're not reasonable understood to be factual. If a complaint is supposed to be based on facts, and you're bringing in a complaint that's not based on facts, then your claim is dead to begin with. Because if you're claiming that what I said was fact, so it's damaging you, but in truth what I'm saying is actually not fact, so it couldn't have damaged you, you presumed it was fact. They're letting you know, Fox News is letting you know what they tell you is not factual. Fox News asserts that plaintiff statement on one of their episodes, besides the fact that it's constitutionally protected, they are not reasonably understood to be factual. They're letting you know news are not facts. So if you're allowing news to govern your daily activities, how you view your family members, the people in society that you're supposed to be building and talking to and actually get closer to them, society is made of people. You're running away from people, looking at people with slanted eyes because of what news have fed you about whatever crap that they're feeding you. Then you cannot hold them liable. You create a reality that's detrimental to you and everyone else. You are being a beast of burden to yourself and everyone else based on what someone else is feeding you. That is not factual, and they are admitting it right here. If you love to use court cases, this is a perfect example. If you want to prove that news are not factual, here it is. This is a self-confession right here. Secondly, Fox News argues that the plaintiffs have failed to allege actual malice. Remember, a claim has facial plausibility when plaintiff pleads factual content that allows the court to draw the reasonable inference that the defendant is liable for misconduct alleged. Whatever you're alleging, there has to be a reasonable thing that we can point to and link that they're liable. And one of the foundational things when it comes to law or a crime is intent. So they're letting you know we have constitution secured right, and what we're saying is not factual, and we don't claim for it to be factual. So that's your problem for thinking it's factual and getting your feelings hurt about it. This is business. We don't care about your feelings. And we don't claim that it's factual. And on top of that, you cannot prove that we did it maliciously. We didn't claim it was factual, so we weren't targeting you maliciously. Then they go on to say, Fox News again moved to dismiss. The motion argues that when read in context, the plaintiff's statements cannot reasonably be interpreted as facts. Because the plaintiff is bringing a claim based on what they're saying, and they're saying that what we're saying is not factual. So you're saying is based on what we're saying, and we know that what we're saying is not factual, and we accept that it's not factual. So what you're saying is not factual either. So you stated no claim upon which relief can be granted because there's no facts. And what they're saying is not factual, and they're not claiming it to be factual. If that's the case, why are you listening to news? It cannot be trusted. There are other ways you can hold them liable, but if this is the basis of you trying to hold them liable, claiming that you're alleging that it's factual, I mean, this court case right here is letting you know you might as well not even begin the suit. Just save yourself the time and trouble. As a result of that, case was closed. Bottom line, we learned two main things. Don't let news govern your life because it's not factual. And you cannot hold them liable if you're trying to say that, well, they're supposed to be factual and they say they're factual, so my whole life was destroyed because of this. They have freedom of speech. Just as freedom of speech covers people cussing at you, independent of your feelings, well, how you feel about what you're hearing does not make it factual. How you feel about the hypnotic images, hypnotic sounds, hypnotic colors that they show you in this news, how you feel about it does not have any bearing on whether it's a factual matter, which is what the court looks at. And two, in order for you to prove malice, you must show intent. And that's about it.